Have you ever wondered why two people can face the same storm, yet one is crushed by it while the other emerges stronger, sharper, even unstoppable? Picture this. Two hikers are caught on the side of a mountain as the sky rips open with thunder. One panics, frozen, convinced the mountain is against them. The other smiles through the rain, adjusts their grip, and climbs higher, each drop fueling their determination. The storm doesn't choose sides, it simply is. What makes the difference is not the storm, but the mindset of the one climbing. This book is not about avoiding storms, it's about building a mindset so powerful, so resilient, that storms become fuel, not fear. And here's the part most self-help books never dare to say out loud. The mindset you've been taught to chase, the so-called positive or winning mindset, is broken. It asks you to smile when life kicks you, to pretend everything is fine when you're drowning. That is not winning. That is denial. And denial never made anyone unstoppable. The truth is raw. And it might sting. Life will not stop testing you. You will face rejection, loss, failure, betrayal, and fear. The fantasy of someday when things get easier is a trap. There is no easier. There is only stronger. And stronger isn't something you stumble into, it's something you train into existence. That's what this 7-day journey is about. In just 1 week, you will build the foundations of an unstoppable mindset, not by chanting affirmations into a mirror, not by plastering fake positivity over pain, but by rewiring the way you interpret struggle itself. Imagine a week from today looking at the same obstacle that used to paralyze you, and instead of shrinking, you smirk. You see it as a workout, a sparring partner, a test you welcome. Because by then you'll know something most people never figure out: obstacles aren't walls, they're weights. And like any weight in the gym, they don't exist to stop you. They exist to make you stronger. If strength is built through resistance, why do most people avoid it? Why do they stay small, circling the same problems for years, sometimes decades? The answer is simple, brutal, and liberating, because no one ever showed them how to transform resistance into fuel. They were told to run from fear, to dodge failure, to wait until they felt ready. You know what happens when you wait for readiness? You die waiting. Readiness is a myth. The climber doesn't become ready on the mountain. They become ready by climbing it. And you, yes you, reading this right now, you've been climbing your own mountains without realizing it. Every heartbreak, every no, every sleepless night you've already survived was proof that you have the seeds of an unstoppable mindset inside you. You don't need to build it from scratch. You only need to unlock it, train it, and amplify it. This book, the 7-day framework, is your training ground. Each day is not just theory, it's practice. You'll be pushed to confront truths you've avoided, to do things you've delayed, to rewire the way you see yourself and the world around you. I won't sugarcoat it. These 7 days will challenge you. But here's the paradox. The challenge is the point. By choosing to lean into it, you'll discover a version of yourself most people never meet. A version of you that doesn't break under pressure, but sharpens. A version of you that doesn't waste time asking, why me? But declares, try me. And once you've tasted that, once you've proven to yourself that you can become unstoppable in 7 days, you'll never again go back to living like a victim of circumstance. Think of this as a mental boot camp, but without the screaming sergeant. Instead, I'll be your guide, not shouting, but walking beside you, pointing to the places where others give up and showing you the shortcuts to rise instead. We're not aiming for perfection here. Perfection is an illusion. We're aiming for progress, for identity transformation, for momentum that carries you beyond these 7 days, because unstoppable isn't a result, it's an identity. Once you become it, you carry it into every part of life, your career, your relationships, your health, your dreams. Becoming unstoppable doesn't take years. It doesn't require a guru, a retreat in Bali, or a library of books. The brain is a pattern machine, and it can be rewired faster than you think. 7 days is enough to crack the shell, to plant the seeds, to prove to yourself that change isn't just possible, it's inevitable once you commit every day of this journey. You'll stack wins, micro shifts, tiny deliberate rewires. And by the time you reach day 7, you won't just feel different, you'll be different. So before we begin, I want you to make a choice. Not a passive, half-hearted, I'll try, but a real choice. Do you want to keep living as the person who reacts to life, or do you want to step into the person who directs life? Do you want to stay at the mercy of storms, or do you want to become the climber who laughs at thunder? This is not about me. This is about you deciding, right here and now, that the next 7 days will not just pass like every other week. They will transform you. And once you make that choice, every word you read in the chapters ahead will not just be information, it will be ignition. Welcome to day 0. Welcome to the start of your unstoppable self. Every great transformation begins with a confrontation. Not with the world, not with society, not even with your obstacles, but with yourself. On day 1 of this journey, before we talk about building resilience, confidence, or focus, we must address the question that stops 99% of people before they ever begin. What do you actually want? It sounds simple, almost cliche, but think about it honestly. When was the last time you sat down in silence without distractions and wrote down a clear vision for your life? Not vague wishes like, I want to be happy or I want to be successful, but a razor-sharp, vivid description of the life you refuse to leave this planet without experiencing. Most people don't. They drift, they improvise, they react. And that's why they stay stuck, because you cannot build an unstoppable mindset without knowing what you're unstoppable for. Here's a brutal truth. The human brain hates vagueness. If you tell your mind, I want to be successful, it doesn't know where to aim. Success could mean money, relationships, health, peace, and impact. Without a target, your brain wastes energy spinning in circles, chasing shiny objects, and comparing yourself to others. But the moment you define a vision, a clear, emotionally charged vision, your mind becomes a heat-seeking missile. It starts by noticing opportunities, filtering distractions, and aligning your energy toward that goal. That is why day 1 is about defining your vision. Without it, the other 6 days are wasted. With it, every day becomes amplified. So here's what I want you to do today. Not tomorrow, not when you feel ready, but today. Find a notebook, a journal, or even a blank document on your laptop. At the top, write this question: if I could not fail, what life would I build? Then, and this part is critical, write without censoring yourself. Don't worry about being realistic. Don't shrink your vision to fit your current circumstances. Circumstances change, visions create those changes. Let your imagination off the leash. Write about the career you'd build, the body you'd have, the relationships you'd nurture, the adventures you'd experience, and the impact you'd leave behind. Be specific. What city are you living in? What does your morning look like? Who's at your side? What kind of work makes you lose track of time? If you only had 5 years to live, what would you dedicate yourself to? Most people will resist this exercise because it forces them to admit how small they've been playing. But here's the secret. The resistance itself is proof that you need to do it. When your mind whispers, this is silly, this is unrealistic, that's not truth, that's fear trying to keep you comfortable. But comfort never made anyone unstoppable. You have to be willing to declare what you want even before you know how to get it. That's courage, and courage is the soil where every unstoppable mindset grows. Now, once you've written your vision, I want you to confront the second half of this day's challenge, your limits. The same notebook, the same honesty. Now write down the obstacles that have been holding you back. Not excuses, not external villains, but the actual barriers. Maybe it's fear of failure, maybe it's procrastination, maybe it's that you've been living for other people's approval instead of your own mission. Write them all down, ugly and raw. Don't sanitize it, don't sugarcoat it, face it. Because here's the paradox. The moment you write down your limits, they lose power. What was once a shadow in your head becomes ink on a page, and ink can be rewritten. I'll give you an example. Years ago, I worked with someone who dreamed of starting her own business, but she kept delaying. She told me, "I'm not ready." When we did this exercise, she finally admitted the truth. Her biggest limit was not money, not time, but fear of judgment from her family. That was it. A single sentence on paper. "I'm afraid of what they'll say if I fail." You could feel the release when she wrote it. Because once you see the enemy, you can fight it. Within a year, she launched her business. Did her family judge? A little. But the vision was stronger than the fear. Today, she runs a thriving company, and the same people who doubted her now brag about her. That's the power of confronting limits. Define your vision clearly and vividly, not vague, not half-hearted, a real declaration. Identify your limits, write them down, strip them of secrecy, and stare them in the face. When you're done, I want you to draw a line between the two lists. Vision on one side, limits on the other. Look at them side by side. This is your battlefield. On the left, the life you're meant for. On the right, the excuses that will try to steal it from you. Every action you take in the next 7 days will either feed the left or the right. And once you see it this way, you realize every choice matters, every decision is a vote. Either you're voting for your unstoppable self or your limited self. Which side are you going to feed today? Don't underestimate the power of this exercise. Neuroscience has shown that the act of writing down goals increases your likelihood of achieving them by up to 42%. Why? Because writing is not passive. It forces the brain to translate vague dreams into structured language, which creates a neural imprint. You're literally programming your subconscious. And when you write your limits, the same mechanism works in reverse. By labeling fears, you shrink them. What was a foggy monster becomes a small note, and small notes can be handled step by step. So, as you close day one, here's your mantra. Vision is my compass, limits are my weights. I will choose the compass and lift the weights. Remember, obstacles are not walls, they're weights, and the more you lift them, the stronger you get. By the end of this week, you'll look back at the very list of limits you wrote today and laugh, because they will already feel lighter, smaller, weaker compared to the force you're becoming. Day one is not about motivation. Motivation is fleeting. Day one is about the foundation, and the foundation of an unstoppable life is clarity. Without clarity, you're a ship without a map. With clarity, you're a rocket with coordinates. And rockets don't ask permission from gravity. They break it. So pick up the pen. Write the vision. Confront the limits, and let today be the day you finally stop drifting and start directing. This is your day one. This is where unstoppable begins.